Alrighty, so this is my version of shepherd's pie. This is a quick weekday shepherd's pie and part of a 2-video series because hopefully I can figure out how to edit 2 videos together so I can show you how to make my Instant Pot garlic mashed potatoes that are to die for and super easy. But let's get started on the shepherd's pie. So the ingredients we're going to need is 1 pound of ground beef. If you're going to feed more than like 2 to 4 people, I would recommend doing 2 pounds of ground beef and doubling this, because this is just going to do like a small 8x11, which is more than enough for our family of 4, which includes toddlers who won't eat any of it. So 1 pound of ground beef. I have 2 cloves of garlic minced up, half of an onion diced. Our seasonings are half of a teaspoon thyme, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 bay leaf. We're going to use a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, 1 to 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, some beef stock, probably 1 to 2 cups depending on how saucy we want it to be. And then, as I had said, it is a weekday shepherd's pie, so I'm not about to be peeling and chopping all these veggies, so I'm just using these bird's eye frozen mixed vegetables, and we'll probably use about 2 cups of this in the recipe. But you can use frozen vegetables if you want to. You can use fresh carrots and fresh veggies if you want. It's completely up to you. And then also, I forgot to mention, we are going to be using 1 to 2 tablespoons of flour to bring the whole gravy together. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and get our pot nice and hot, and then I'm going to start browning the ground beef, and then I will toss in the onion and let that brown up as well. So as soon as I get this going in the pot, I will be back online. Okay, so I just realized that I cannot make a separate video about my mashed potatoes because I won't be done with the shepherd's pie before the potatoes come out. So as a side note, in my Instant Pot I have 8 small russet potatoes, the ones that come in the bag that you buy, peeled and chopped. Each of them were chopped into 6 pieces. I've got probably 3 cups of water, 2 peeled cloves of garlic, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 2 bay leaves, or excuse me, 1 bay leaf. And I put that in the Instant Pot on high pressure for 10 minutes, and I will do a quick pressure release, and that will cook the potatoes. And I will drain them, and then I guess I will give the rest of the instructions for it when we're ready to add the butter, the milk, and the sour cream. So I did get the ground beef and the onions in the pan here. I'm just going to continue to brown them. Some people, like I said, this is a weeknight dinner, would brown the onions before or brown the ground beef and then add the onions, but I'm just doing them together to save time. But whatever you do, do not add your garlic at this point. Like, it's a huge pet peeve of mine when people tell you to add your garlic at the same time as your onions. Like, garlic is so gross when it gets burned, and it does not cook at the same rate as onions. So please, if you ever watch a video or read a recipe and they say add your onions and your garlic, just stop watching it, because they don't know what they are talking about. Also, sorry I sound like a little bit not as peppy as usual. I am definitely sick. I have the cold that everybody has. It's terrible. So just thought I should explain why I sound like large Marge. Okay, so our potatoes have been drained. I removed the bay leaf, and obviously I left the 2 cloves of garlic that we cooked in there. And you can see they're like butter. Like, they're going to mash up so easily. So to this, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of butter, a 1/4 cup of milk, and a 1/4 cup of sour cream, and then just mash it up. And then we'll taste it for salt and add some black pepper, but these will probably already be pretty well salted because we added a whole teaspoon to the boiling liquid. So that's what's going on there. And our ground beef is just about ready. I really like to crank up my ground beef because I feel like it lends to a better texture if it's nicely browned. And our onions are nice and translucent. Our oven is set to 400 degrees, just came to temperature. So I am going to add to our pot our spices. So I just dumped, if that would focus, our garlic in with the rest of our spices. Pop that in there, and don't burn your hand. A+, Gina. Stir that around for a second. It's gonna get nice and fragrant. And then, sorry, my focus on my phone is terrible. I don't know how to fix that. So if anybody has any suggestions, I would greatly appreciate that. And then I'm actually going to have to come back on camera in a second because I didn't measure out my tomato paste or my flour or my Worcestershire sauce. And I definitely need both hands for that. So hold up 1 second. Alrighty. I have added a whack, is the measurement I would like to say, probably about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, 2 tablespoons of flour, and 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. And we are going to stir this around until it's all well incorporated and let it cook for a second so some of that raw flour flavor cooks off. Whenever I put flour into ground meat, it reminds me of biscuits and gravy, which is like one of my favorite things. And now that it's winter, nice heavy breakfast sounds good, doesn't it? Okay. I'm going to let this chill out for a minute and have it cook, as I had said. I'm going to pop the other stuff here in the Instant Pot and mash up the potatoes. And I'll be back to show you what the potatoes look like and to show you what we're going to add to the rest of the shepherd's pie when we add the stock and the veggies. So, be right back. Okay, so the pan was getting a little dry before I finished my mashed potatoes, so I went ahead and dumped in our beef stock, and you could use beef broth or beef stock or even probably water if you wanted to. So really just tailor it to what you have on hand. So this is the texture that we're looking for. It's like a loose sloppy joe, and it's better to add too little liquid because you can always add more than to put too much and you can't take it out and the flour gets clumpy when you try to re-thicken it. So I'm just going to dump in some veggies. I'd say that's probably 1.5 cups, and let's check it out, what it looks like. It looks pretty good, but I'm going to add a little bit more because we really like veggies. So I'd say about 2 cups of frozen veg. This would probably be equivalent of like 2 whole carrots and I don't know, maybe like 1/2 cup of frozen corn or canned corn. I don't know, it just really depends on what you want to add to it. You could use fresh green beans. It's really up to you. Alright, so that is looking a little bit thick because we are going to simmer this for about 10 minutes once it comes to a simmer because we need all the flavors to come together. So I'm just going to keep this chicken stock, what am I saying? Beef stock on hand and keep checking it out. I'm going to cover it and reduce the heat after it comes to a boil and let it simmer. And I'm really repeating myself today on this video, so I'm sorry. But I will be back with the finished product of our mashed potatoes. Yes, y'all. These are our Instant Pot mashed potatoes. They are so good. I can't even tell you. So, nice and thick. I know that some people put egg in their mashed potatoes for shepherd's pie because they want the top to brown up nicely, which is all fine and dandy, but ain't nobody got time for that on a Thursday night. So, I'm just going to do regular old mashed potatoes. We're simmering. Ooh, geez, I should have stirred that. We are simmering away over here. In about 5 more minutes, I'll pop everything in the dish and I'll show you what it looks like before it goes in. Step 1 of 2, remove bay leaf. Step 2 of 2, dump your stuff into your casserole dish and spread it out nicely. Sometimes I'll add a layer of cheddar cheese in here, but I'm not going to do that today because I'm going to put Parmesan on top. So now I'm going to plop the potatoes on. Hold up 1 second. Okie dokie, so this is what it looks like with the mashed potatoes on top, and my tip, which I was unable to show you while I was doing it because I needed both hands, is that you need to take small spoonfuls of the mashed potatoes and distribute them evenly over the whole top, because otherwise you're going to end up with your meat mixture like wanting to come out of one side, so you need to like seal that beast in there, you know what I mean? So like distribute the weight evenly, and then I like to like kind of swoop up the top so that way there's like little nooks and crannies for the Parmesan to get stuck in. And the reason I'm doing Parmesan on top is because it will actually brown up and our potatoes probably won't because we didn't put egg in them. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this in our oven, which is at 400 for like 15 to 20 minutes. It's 4:43 and my husband likes to eat at like 5, so it was my day to get off work early, so I'm very lucky. And as a side note, this is probably where our video is going to end for today. The thumbnail will have to be the finished product because my babies are getting a little irritated and they want my attention. So I hope you liked my video. If you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the comments. If you liked it, if you could subscribe or like my video, I'd really appreciate it. So have a great night.